Hi everyone, I wanted to make a video to go over my approach to Vulching in IL-2 multiplayer. I think some points in here will apply nicely to other flight sims. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're into that, please subscribe. So this video is titled How to Vulch, but what we're going to be covering is both BARCAP and Vulching. There may not be a super clear definition on both of these, but by BARCAP I mean Barrier Area Combat Air Patrol, which is a flight plan which secures easy kills and denies the enemy from reaching your target. While Vulching is really about killing people immediately around their airfield before they get anywhere close to being able to defend themselves. And Vulching is sometimes considered a scummy thing to do by some players. So let's start with fleshing out our definition of BARCAP, the good and bad about it, some tips to do it, and then we will dive into Vulching. So in a nutshell, flying BARCAP is putting yourself between a target of interest, like a depot of your own, or even your own front line, and the enemy airfield. You're basically bouncing the enemy as they come to target. So the pros of this are they're really easy kills. It's one of the best ways to defend your targets because you're essentially shooting down the planes before they get any chance to drop their eggs. And the cons are that you have a high risk because you're flying over the enemy territory for a long time. So if you get caught, you can't really bail out. If they see you, the surprise is over. And if the surprise is over, then you're going to actually have to fight them. And that's dangerous to do because you're basically fighting in their direct air path, so you can get third party really easily. And the other thing too is that it's really easy to miss planes. So if they're flying low or coming from different airfields that you're not lined up to try to interdict or intercept, then you're just going to totally miss them and you're going to be wasting your time. So let's talk about how to position yourself and some tips and considerations to keep in mind. Unfortunately, the best way to introduce this is with a map, so we'll go through this quick. In this map setup, we see the two Russian airfields to the south. We see that the front line is to the northwest, and our own depot is to the deep west. By understanding this, we can easily figure out where they're going to be flying and how they're going to get to target. Most people take the direct and fastest path to get to target. So by positioning ourselves in this blue area, we're going to be in a good spot to intercept them. So let's actually see it live now. When the next scene starts, I'll be flying right here on this blue dot. So the first two things I want to talk about are actually fairly related. So it's winter and clouds. In winter, when the temperature gets low enough and you're flying high enough, you are going to be developing contrails. I'm not really quite sure on what the science or math or whatever the requirements are for you to develop contrails, but basically if you're flying in winter, make sure you're poking your head back and making sure to see if you're making contrails or not. The reason is that it's really easy to notice contrails, and if you're basically painting the sky with contrails, everyone's going to notice it and you're never going to be able to sneak up on anyone. Second thing is clouds. So in this situation, I would say that the cloud coverage here is around 6 out of 10, maybe even a 7 out of 10. And in this, what I try to do is try to find these things that I call donut holes. Basically, you can see that there's, off my right wing here, you can clearly see the city, but there's a bunch of clouds around it. This is kind of a hole, and what I'll do is I'll fly just on the inside of the hole and look around, and basically it makes it really easy for you to see contacts, but it makes it really hard for them to see you. So I haven't seen anything yet. I'm again flying along the edge of the donut hole, and I'm looking, and they should be passing from right to left, and I'm just waiting for something to pop up. And as we wait, we see two contacts appear. So now these guys are, if they haven't seen me yet, they should be pretty easy bounces. And I start to roll in. I cut my engine to make sure I don't overspeed. Committing or doing BARCAP in German aircraft in IL-2 is much easier than it is with most of the Allied planes, because a lot of the Allied planes suffer from their planes kind of either lock up too quickly or they run into ailerons popping off or tails failing. But the German plane, especially the 109 or even the 190 also, it's really easy to do this. So I'm going to come up on this guy. He did see me, but I got some hits on him, and I'm able to use my speed and climb away. Really easy to do. I think BARCAP's actually one of the easiest things to do for a new player. All you really need to be able to figure out is to be able to spot and to have enough gain sense to know where they're going to be flying from, and to put yourself in the middle, get enough altitude, and just keep your eyes open, and you should be able to do this. To drive the point home about contrails, here I'm flying a Dora, and I am casting a contrail. You can see the contact that just looked out below me is not. I try to fly basically at cloud level to try to mask the contrails. I mean, look how stark it is. It's really easy to see. So I do try to stay at cloud level. That way it's a little bit more hidden. And in this scenario, I'm sitting between the enemy airfield and the front line, in a very random position, by the way, because the airfield's quite far, and I do see a contact, and look, he's even casting a contrail, and that's how I'm able to see him so quickly. And the key thing also with BARCAP is altitude is really important. You typically don't want to enter a fight lower than your target, and that goes back to one of the cons with BARCAP is you're typically going to be flying over enemy territory, and if you get caught by an enemy plane and they have an altitude advantage on you, it makes it really hard to get away. So this guy was trying to fight me, but I had more altitude with him, and I was able to bring it around on him. And I made a pretty decent snapshot there, so the fight was over. I killed him there. So again, contrails can be very dangerous. They stick out like a sore thumb, and altitude is very, very important when doing BARCAP, so don't try to do this slow. So now that we've kind of covered the basics with BARCAPing, I kind of want to transition into vulching. And in this video, we are flying here and we are trying to vulch this airfield. Now, I am using this little tiny hole in this cloud formation to look at the airfield, and I'm actually able to see them spawn, and that's really important. You will not be able to probably see it on the YouTube video because of the video compression. So, but believe me, basically what's going on is I'm able to see them spawn. And because I know where they're spawning, I know which side of the airfield they're going to take off from, because they're going to come from west to east. And because they're going to be doing that, I'm placing my 190 over on the eastern end over the Volga, because I know they're going to be taking off toward me. So I'm just keeping an eye on them. And what we'll do is I'm going to skip ahead in the video, because basically what ended up happening was I saw this airfield, I see a contact spawn, and then all of a sudden I see many contacts spawn, and I think it was about 3 or 4 of them, and they take their sweet time to taxi and to get information on the ground. So basically I'm doing circles of the Volga. I'm outside of 10 kilometers range from the airfield, so they don't even know I'm here, and I'm just sitting here and waiting. So let's skip ahead. So these guys are going to start to lift. I'm going to transition into in-game audio, and you'll be hearing me talking to my wingman. Keep in mind again that because of YouTube's video compression, it's going to be hard to see the contacts until I get close, but I want you to see how everything kind of develops and the angle that we take. I will pause it to make some notes, so everything's clear. So let's go into it. Sending it. Remember, they have flak. I'm hoping what they do is they come out over the Volga.
Killers ain't scared of flak.
Second one sending it. Oh, they're so hard to see now. I'm going to get lower. They're turning south along the road. I should see one of them. But they're down there. It's passing the railroad. Okay, I only see one of them. I'm going to turn into it. Lights are on by one of them. 2 of them. See him? My 2
No,
o'clock low?
I'm trying to just
Okay,
follow
just,
you right now.
just focus on me. Yeah, I'll lead us to them.
Oh, well, I see the guys with the lights on.
There's 3 of them, so be careful. Okay, so there's 2 up front and there's 1 behind.
Okay, the lights on. Okay, I see 2 with the lights on.
So yeah, yeah, there's 3. The third one's with the guy in front.
Got it. Fucking do it.
I think we go for the 2 front ones, or maybe I'll go for the front one. You get the back one.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna wait 5 seconds behind you.
No, just go.
Alright, going for the back one.
You need to kill the second one really quickly. Okay, so let's pause for a moment. These guys have climbed away from their airfield, which means they're no longer protected by flak. It was really hard to see them after they lifted, but I kept my eye on them and I was totally focused on them while my wingman was focused on me and was not looking for them. So we didn't become separated. We were safe because he was keeping an eye out and I was trying to follow the context as best as I could. We got lucky because they had their lights on. And we are diving in. And looking back on this, I don't know if this plan was really that good or not. We decide that I'm going to hit the front ones and my wingman's going to hit the rear one. We're trying to do it at the same time. You're going to see that they kind of do see us coming, and I flip my lights on to try to confuse them, to make them think that maybe we're part of them. I don't know what their comms are like, but just trying to be sneaky. So let's see how this plays out.
God.
Their spits. I hit mine.
Hit mine as well. Not sure if I killed him.
Yeah, you fucked him
Oh,
up.
he's on fire. Cool, going high.
So we've gone through this entire time without talking about airfield or servers. Different servers have different types of airfields. Finnish temp airfields are the easiest to vulch because they do not have any flak protection. But I also find that they are the hardest to BARCAP because generally people are very vigilant after they lift off because they're so close to the front. The rear airfields are easier to BARCAP because the long flight times from the rear really lull people into complacency, so they're really asleep. And then Combat Box, which is the other really big IL-2 server, doesn't allow vulching on protected airfields. I think it's within an 8-kilometer range, and it's like a striped grid, so you can tell which ones that they are. They also have some other temp airfields which can be vulched, and they actually do have flak protection, if I remember correctly. So we saw it in the last video, but knowing where on the enemy airfield they're spawning and in what direction they're looking from is really important. In this example here, you can see that I'm flying an LA-5 and I'm west of the German airfield. So I'm even deeper into the lines than their airfield. And as the enemy take off, they're actually turning their back to me, so this makes for a very easy bounce. We're not going to go through all of this because this is, I think we get this point. And we'll transition into the last note I want to make about temp airfields on Finnish. So let's go into the final example. And what we're going to be talking about is the Finnish temp airfields because you can repair at them now. The airfields you just saw, and I'm vulching a yak. Do keep in mind when you're vulching that you need to keep your eyes open and around. I have some wingmen flying here, so they're keeping an eye out. I typically really do not like flying in this lighting. I usually will just fly a bomber because this lighting sucks and it's really hard to see stuff, and I'll get snuck up on all the time. So I'm hitting this guy, he's done. And one thing I've noticed about the new Finnish temp airfields is the ability to repair at them, and it's made vulching a little bit harder. Before you would be able to strafe someone and knock him out and he would be forced to respawn, but now they can just respawn on the airfield. So what I've started to do is attack the repair point, and the repair point can be found by looking at the tank spawn at the temp airfield. And if you can find the tank spawn, you should be able to see a truck. And you'll know that you killed the right truck because when you strafe it, it explodes into a huge fireball. You don't need bombs, all you have to do is strafe it. So I would recommend that if you are planning on shutting down an airfield and strafing the hell out of it, make sure you kill this truck. It gives you a 30-minute window of basically the enemy can't repair anymore. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you guys thought this was too basic. Some past videos I made, things I thought were basic, and people didn't quite get some notes, so I kind of wanted to dial it a little bit back. I might make a second iteration of this video. Please consider liking and subscribing if you like this video, and I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you.